Commander Sarah Chen floated in the observation deck of the ESS Defiance, watching the stars blur past as her ship traveled through the void. She had been with the Earth Defense Fleet for 12 years, and this patrol mission near Andromeda Station felt like any other routine assignment. Her squadron of 6 cruisers moved in perfect formation, protecting the trade routes that connected humanity to the rest of the galaxy. The communication console beeped. Chen pushed off from the window and drifted to her command chair. The message was marked urgent, coming directly from Andromeda Station. She opened it and read the words that would change everything. All Earth military leaders were summoned to an emergency summit. The Galactic Council claimed a massive threat was approaching from the Void Marauders, a pirate faction that had been quiet for years. Every admiral, every fleet commander, every high-ranking officer was ordered to attend immediately. No weapons allowed as per diplomatic protocol. Chen felt something cold settle in her stomach. This did not feel right. In her experience, the council never moved this fast. They debated everything for weeks, sometimes months. But now they wanted every human leader in one place unarmed within hours. She contacted Admiral James Kowalski, her mentor and the commander of Earth's Third Fleet. His face appeared on her screen and she could see the same worry in his eyes. "You feel it too," he said. It was not a question. "Sir, this could be a trap," Chen said carefully. "The timing is wrong. The Void Marauders have been scattered for 2 years. Why now?" Kowalski nodded slowly. "I raised the same concerns with Earth Command. But the Council was very clear. If we do not attend, they will consider it an act of hostility. They will revoke our membership and close human space to all trade." Chen gripped her armrest. Humanity had worked for 25 years to earn their place in the Galactic Council. Earth had sent peacekeepers to countless conflicts. Human engineers had helped rebuild worlds destroyed by war. Human diplomats had negotiated treaties between species that had fought for centuries. To lose all of that would cripple Earth's economy and isolate humanity from the galaxy. "I understand, sir," she said quietly. "Keep your squadron on patrol," Kowalski ordered. "Stay sharp, Commander. If anything goes wrong, you get back to Earth no matter what." "That is a direct order." The transmission ended. Chen stared at the empty screen for a long moment. Then she called her crew to battle stations just in case. 18 hours later, everything went wrong. Chen was reviewing supply reports when her tactical officer shouted. Dozens of Council warships had appeared around Andromeda Station. They were not in defensive positions. They were in attack formations, weapons hot and targeting systems active. "Get me the station," Chen ordered, her heart pounding. The channel opened to chaos. She could hear weapons fire and screaming. A human lieutenant appeared on screen, blood running down his face. "They are killing us!" he shouted. The Council ships opened fire without warning. Admiral Kowalski and the others walked into the summit chamber and the doors locked. Then the station's defense grid turned on our ships. "We are losing," the transmission cut off. Chen watched in horror as Andromeda Station's massive weapons platforms fired on the human vessels docked nearby. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Escape pods launched desperately, but Council fighters hunted them down without mercy. "Ma'am, we are receiving distress calls from across the sector," her communications officer reported, her voice shaking. "Human ships are under attack everywhere. This is happening all over Council space." Chen's mind raced. This was not a misunderstanding or an accident. This was planned. The Council had lured Earth's military leadership into a trap and was now destroying the scattered human fleet while they were leaderless and unprepared. "All ships. Emergency jump to Sol system," Chen commanded. "Now!" Her tactical officer turned to her. "Ma'am, Admiral Kowalski ordered us to patrol." "The Admiral is captured or dead," Chen said, her voice hard. "And if we do not warn Earth, everyone we love will die too. Execute the jump." The Defiance and her squadron tore open holes in space and fled. Behind them, Andromeda Station burned. Chen knew that hundreds of human officers were dead or captured. She knew that Admiral Kowalski, the man who had taught her everything about command, was probably in a Council prison cell if he was lucky. As her ships raced toward Earth at faster than light speed, Chen accessed the classified databases. She needed to understand why. Why would the Council betray humanity after 25 years of partnership? What she found made her blood run cold. There were files marked top secret, eyes only for Council leadership. Her ship's AI had grabbed them during the chaos. Chen read through intercepted communications and secret Council meetings. The Council wanted Earth's technology. Humanity had developed military AI that made their weapons devastatingly accurate. Human tactics were unpredictable and creative, born from centuries of warfare on Earth. Human ships were faster and more efficient than anything the Council had, but most importantly, humans asked questions. They innovated. They did not follow the old ways blindly. The Council feared what humanity could become, so they decided to take what they wanted and destroy the rest. The files revealed something even worse. 3 other species had been uplifted by the Council, brought into galactic civilization with promises of peace and prosperity. When those species became too advanced, too independent, the Council had destroyed them too. Their worlds were empty now, their names forgotten. Earth was next. Chen looked at the countdown timer. 48 hours until they reached Sol system. 48 hours to prepare for war against an empire of thousands of worlds. She opened a fleet-wide channel to her squadron. "This is Commander Chen. What we witnessed today was not an accident. The Galactic Council has betrayed humanity. They plan to destroy Earth and take our technology. We are all that stands between our families and genocide. When we reach home, we fight. We fight for every man, woman, and child on Earth. We fight because if we do not, humanity ends. Prepare yourselves. The real war begins now." The stars streaked past as Earth's last free warships raced toward home, carrying a warning that would change the galaxy forever. The Defiance dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system, and Commander Sarah Chen immediately sent out the warning on all emergency channels. Within minutes, every military base, every government office, and every news station on Earth knew the truth. The Galactic Council had betrayed humanity. President Marcus Webb stood in the Emergency Command Center deep beneath Geneva, watching the reports flood in. The numbers were devastating. Of Earth's 6 main fleets, only scattered fragments remained. More than 300 ships destroyed, 15,000 personnel dead or captured. Every admiral except Chen was gone. Earth's military might had been cut by 2/3 in a single coordinated strike. "Madam President," the defense minister said quietly, "the Council is demanding our surrender. They want all our military AI technology, our ship designs, and our tactical databases. In return, they promise to let Earth exist as a protectorate under Council control." Webb looked at the faces around the table. Some showed fear. Others showed anger. She felt both, but she also felt something else. Determination. "Send them our response," Webb said clearly. "Earth does not surrender. Not now. Not ever." The room went silent. The defense minister cleared his throat. "Madam President, their fleet will arrive in approximately 72 hours. Intelligence estimates 3,000 warships. We have fewer than 600 operational vessels left, scattered across the system." "Then we use what we have," Webb replied. She turned to the military chiefs. "Activate Protocol Exodus. All of it." The officers exchanged glances. Protocol Exodus was Earth's deepest secret, known only to the highest levels of government. It had been created 20 years ago by officials who believed that joining the Council was a risk. They had prepared for the possibility of betrayal. "Are you certain?" the chief of space operations asked. "Once we reveal what we have been hiding, there is no going back. The Council will know we have been preparing for this." "They already know we will not submit," Webb said firmly. "Now we show them why that was a mistake." Commander Chen stood on the bridge of her new flagship, the ESS Valiant, and watched as Earth's true military strength revealed itself. From hidden shipyards in the Kuiper Belt, beyond Pluto's orbit, massive vessels emerged from camouflaged bunkers. These were not the ships the Council knew about. These were darker, more dangerous, built in secret over 2 decades. The Dark Fleet numbered 400 warships. Combined with the survivors from the Council's attack, Earth now had 1,000 ships to face 3,000. Still outnumbered, but no longer helpless. Dr. Yuki Tanaka contacted Chen from Earth's primary weapons research facility. The scientist's face showed exhaustion, but also excitement. "Commander, we are retrofitting every civilian vessel we can find. Cargo haulers, mining ships, even tourist cruisers. Anything that can mount a weapon or carry troops." "How many?" Chen asked. "Another 300 vessels, maybe more. Tanaka replied. They will not survive long in a real fight, but they can provide support. Launch missiles from distance, serve as decoys. Every ship matters now. Chen nodded. Every ship. Every person. Earth was turning its entire industrial capacity toward war. Factories that made ground vehicles were now producing missile components. Civilians with any spaceflight experience were volunteering as crew. Children were being evacuated to underground bunkers while their parents prepared to fight. The Council had expected Earth to fold. They had not expected humanity to bare its teeth. President Webb addressed the world from the command center. Every screen on Earth showed her face. Every human in the solar system heard her words. My fellow humans, you now know the truth. The Galactic Council has attacked us without provocation. They have killed our people and demand our surrender. They believe we are weak because we are young. They believe we will submit because we are outnumbered. They are wrong. Webb paused, letting her words sink in. Humanity has faced extinction before. We have survived ice ages and plagues. We have endured wars and disasters. Every time we have risen stronger. Today, we face the greatest threat in our history. An empire of thousands of worlds wants to destroy us. But they have made one critical error. They have united humanity against a common enemy. On Mars, in the colonies scattered across the asteroid belt, on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, humans listened. They felt fear, yes, but they also felt something primal awaken. The instinct that had carried their species from caves to the stars, the refusal to go quietly into darkness. We will defend our home, Webb continued. We will fight for every planet, every moon, every station. We will show the galaxy what humanity truly is. We do not start wars, but we finish them. The Council wanted our technology? They will see it, in battle, at the end of a railgun, in the flash of our missiles. They will learn that humanity is not prey. We are the storm. The broadcast ended. Across Earth, people moved with purpose. There was no panic, no chaos, just grim determination. Commander Chen, promoted to Fleet Admiral by emergency decree, reviewed the tactical situation with her officers. Mars was the most vulnerable, being closest to where the Council fleet would arrive. The red planet had only basic defenses and a population of 2 million civilians who could not be evacuated in time. We will make our stand at Mars, Chen decided. Every ship we have. If they want to reach Earth, they go through us. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Rivera, pulled up defensive formations. We can use the asteroid belt as cover, hit and run tactics. Make them pay for every kilometer. The Council fights with honor codes, Chen said thoughtfully. Formal battle lines, predetermined ranges. They consider anything else to be dishonorable. Rivera smiled grimly. Then we are going to be very dishonorable. Dr. Tanaka arrived at the Valiant with the latest weapons. Chen walked with her through the hangar bays, looking at the new tools of war, railguns that fired tungsten projectiles at a fraction of light speed. Nuclear-shaped charges called Kasaba howitzers that focused atomic explosions into devastating beams, AI-assisted targeting that let one human gunner do the work of 10, stealth coding that made ships nearly invisible. The Council has superior numbers, Tanaka explained, but their technology has been stagnant for centuries. They have not had to innovate because no one challenged them. We have all our history of warfare to draw from. Every dirty trick, every desperate tactic, every lesson learned in blood. Chen looked at the scientist. Will it be enough? Tanaka did not answer immediately. Finally, she said, it has to be, because if it is not, humanity ends here. The Council's invasion fleet arrived exactly when predicted. 3,000 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Mars, their formation perfect and beautiful. The Council commander, Admiral Vexthon of the Xerath species, expected to find a broken, desperate defense, a few ships protecting a doomed world. An easy victory. Instead, he found 1,000 human warships waiting in battle formation, more ships hiding in the asteroid belt, and an entire species ready to fight to the last breath. Vexthon sent the traditional challenge demanding formal combat according to Council rules. Chen's response was brief and very human. Come and take it. The Battle of Seoul began with the Council fleet advancing in perfect lines, weapons charging, confident in their numerical superiority. The human fleet scattered like startled fish, breaking every rule of proper warfare. Council ships pursued, trying to restore order to the chaos. That was when they learned their first lesson about fighting humans. When humans scattered, it was not panic, it was strategy. From hidden positions in the asteroids, human ships opened fire. Railgun rounds tore through Council vessels that had never faced such primitive weapons. Nuclear-shaped charges detonated in brilliant flashes, melting armor that had been designed to stop energy weapons. Human fighters swarmed like angry hornets, too small and too fast for the Council's targeting systems. The neat, orderly battle Vexton had planned dissolved into a nightmare of unpredictable violence. Every time Council ships established a firing line, humans appeared from a different direction. Every time they thought they had the advantage, another wave of missiles came screaming out of the darkness. Admiral Chen watched from the Valiant as the battle raged. Humanity was losing ships. Good people were dying. But they were making the Council pay dearly for every meter of space. The real war had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn what happened when you cornered humanity. When you threatened their families, when you gave them no choice but to fight. The Council had wanted Earth's fury. Now they would drown in it. The Battle of Seoul raged for 3 days, and the void between Mars and the asteroid belt became a graveyard of shattered ships and broken dreams. Admiral Sarah Chen had not slept since the first shot was fired. She stood on the bridge of the Valiant, her uniform stained with sweat and coffee, watching her fleet fight with a desperation and creativity that the Council had never encountered. Council Admiral Vexton had begun the battle with confidence. His 3,000 ships against humanity's 1,000 should have been a simple victory. But nothing about fighting humans was simple. They did not follow the rules. They did not fight with honor. They fought to win, and winning meant survival. On the second day of battle, Lieutenant Sarah Kim piloted her fighter through a debris field near Phobos, Mars's largest moon. Her squadron had been reduced from 20 fighters to 6. The Council's heavy cruiser, the Eternal Glory, was bearing down on a damaged human destroyer that could not escape. "Command, this is Wraith Squadron," Kim transmitted. "We see the Glory moving on the Yamato. Permission to engage." "Negative, Wraith Leader," came the response. "You do not have the firepower to damage a cruiser." Kim looked at her fuel gauge. She looked at her remaining missiles. Then she looked at her wingmen. All of them barely 20 years old, all of them exhausted and terrified and still here. "Command, I did not ask if we could damage it. I asked permission to engage." A pause. Then Chen's voice came through. "Granted. Give them hell, Lieutenant." Kim's squadron dove toward the massive cruiser like gnats attacking a lion. The Glory's point defense systems tracked them easily. One fighter exploded. Then another. But Kim and her remaining 3 pilots kept coming, weaving through the fire with maneuvers that broke every safety regulation. They released their missiles at point-blank range, too close for the Glory systems to intercept. The missiles, modified by Dr. Tanaka's team, were not designed to destroy. They were designed to blind. Electromagnetic pulses fried the cruiser's sensors. Chaff clouds turned their targeting into guesswork. The Yamato, given precious seconds, fired its main railgun. The tungsten rod, traveling at incredible speed, punched through the Glory's armor and tore through its power core. The Council cruiser died in a brilliant explosion that lit up Mars's sky. Kim and her 2 surviving wingmen limped back to the carrier, their fighters barely functional. When she climbed out of her cockpit, her hands were shaking. She had lost 18 friends in 2 days. But the Yamato and its 300 crew were still alive. That was what humanity did. They paid the price and kept fighting. On Mars itself, the Council made a fatal mistake. They sent ground troops to capture the dome cities, believing that once civilians were hostages, Earth would surrender. They did not understand that Mars was not Earth's weak point. Mars was Earth's angry little brother. Corporal James Martinez had been a construction worker before the war. Now he crouched behind a barricade in the industrial section of New Phoenix Dome, holding a rifle he had learned to use 3 days ago. Around him, miners and engineers and shopkeepers had become soldiers because there was no other choice. The Council troops advanced in perfect formation, their power armor gleaming, their weapons precise. They expected frightened civilians to run, Instead, they met a storm of improvised explosives, industrial tools turned into weapons, and sheer stubborn fury. Martinez watched as a mining mech, designed to drill through rock, charged the council line. Its operator had welded armor plates to it and loaded the drilling arm with shaped charges. The mech smashed into the enemy formation like an angry god, and the council troops scattered in confusion. "They think we are just factory workers," Martinez said to the woman next to him, a former teacher who now handled ammunition. "They think we will be easy." The teacher smiled grimly. "Then let us educate them." Mars fell eventually. The council committed too many troops and too much firepower, but they paid for every street, every building, every meter of red dust. When they finally took New Phoenix Dome, they had lost 3,000 soldiers to capture a city of civilians who would not stop fighting. The dome's survivors were evacuated through underground tunnels that the council never found. In space, Admiral Chen executed her most desperate gambit. The council's command carrier, the Supreme Judgment, sat at the center of their formation like a queen on a chessboard. As long as Vexthan commanded from that ship, the council fleet moved with perfect coordination. Chen called it the Thermopylae Gambit, named after an ancient Earth battle where a small force held a pass against an army. She would sacrifice 100 ships to destroy that carrier. "This is voluntary," Chen told the captains. "I will not order anyone to die." Every captain volunteered. She had to turn people away. The 100 ships, many of them already damaged, formed into a wedge. They charged directly at the council's center, taking fire from all sides. Ships exploded. Crews died. But they kept coming, faster and faster, their engines pushed beyond safety limits. The council tried to stop them. They threw everything they had at the charging wedge. But human ships were smaller, more maneuverable. And human crews had nothing to lose. 50 ships remained. Then 30, then 10. The Supreme Judgment's shields held firm against the assault, just as Vexthan knew they would. He had built his command carrier to withstand anything, but he had never faced anything like this. The last 5 human ships did not fire their weapons. They aimed themselves, and when they struck the carrier's shields, they detonated their reactors at the exact same moment. The explosion was visible from Earth, a new sun being born and dying in seconds. The Supreme Judgment's shields collapsed. Its armor cracked. Its reactor went critical. The Council's command carrier, pride of their fleet, died with all hands aboard. Chen watched from the Valiant, tears streaming down her face. She had just ordered 100 ships and their crews to die. They had followed that order without hesitation. And Vexthan, the architect of the ambush at Andromeda Station, was dead. With their command structure shattered, the Council fleet faltered. Human ships, reading the confusion with their AI systems, pressed the advantage. They struck from the asteroids. They struck from behind Mars. They struck from every direction at once. The Council tried to retreat, to regroup, but human ships hunted them down. Fighter squadrons that should have been exhausted found reserves of strength they did not know they had. Damaged warships that should have withdrawn stayed in the fight. Civilian vessels jury-rigged with weapons charged into battle alongside military ships. On the third day, the Council fleet broke. Their remaining ships jumped to faster than light speed and fled. They left behind wreckage and bodies and the shattered remains of their pride. Earth had won. The cost was devastating. 400 human ships destroyed, 30,000 dead. Mars's surface was scarred with battle damage. The asteroid belt mining stations were ruins. Every family on Earth had lost someone, but humanity had survived. Against 3,000 warships, against an empire that had existed for thousands of years, Earth had fought and won. Admiral Chen sat in her command chair looking at the casualty reports. Her executive officer, Commander Torres, stood beside her. "We did it," Torres said quietly. "We actually did it," Chen nodded slowly. Then she opened the captured data from the Supreme Judgment. Her technical teams had recovered files from the wreckage, coordinates, fleet dispositions, strategic plans. She learned where the Council's homeworlds were. She learned the locations of their shipyards and fortresses. She learned that the Council's true strength was 50,000 worlds strong. She learned that the fleet they had just destroyed was only 1% of the Council's military might. Earth had won the battle. But the war? The war had just begun. Chen stood and looked at her bridge crew. They were exhausted, traumatized, pushed beyond human limits. But they were still here. Still standing. Still ready. Send a message to Earth Command, Chen ordered. The Sol system is secure. Repair what we can. Build what we must. And prepare the fleet for offensive operations. Torres stared at her. Admiral, you cannot be serious. We barely survived this battle. You want to take the war to them? Chen turned to face her. They came to our home to destroy us. They killed our people. They expected us to surrender or die quietly. Instead, we won. Now they know humanity can fight, but they do not yet know what happens when humanity goes hunting. She pulled up the star charts showing council space. Thousands of systems, hundreds of species, an empire that had ruled the galaxy for millennia. They betrayed us because they feared what we could become. Chen said softly, "Let us show them they were right to be afraid." Outside the valiant human ships moved through the debris field, rescuing survivors and salvaging what they could. Mars began the long process of rebuilding, and on Earth, factories worked around the clock to build more ships, more weapons, more tools of war. The galaxy had tried to end humanity. Instead, they had awakened something ancient and terrible. They had reminded humans what they were capable of when survival was on the line. They had united a fractious species into a single purpose. The Battle of Sol was over. But humanity's wrath had only just begun. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, the galaxy learned a new truth. Humanity did not forgive, and humanity did not forget. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the war room aboard the newly constructed flagship, the ESS Retribution. Around her, holographic displays showed council space in glowing detail. Every world, every station, every fleet position. The captured data from the Supreme Judgment had given Earth something precious: knowledge. President Webb appeared on the screen from Earth. Her hair had gone gray in the past months, but her eyes burned with determination. "Admiral, the Council is requesting peace negotiations. They claim the attack on Sol was a misunderstanding, a rogue faction." Chen laughed, but there was no humor in it. A rogue faction that involved 3,000 warships and coordinated strikes across the galaxy? Tell them no. They are offering reparations, technology exchanges, a seat on the Council leadership. "We do not want a seat at their table," Chen replied coldly. "We want justice. We want Admiral Kowalski and every other prisoner released. We want the Council's leadership to stand trial for genocide, and we want every species they have enslaved over the centuries to be freed." Webb nodded. "Then you have Earth's full support. The Reckoning Fleet is authorized to launch. Show them what happens when they make an enemy of humanity." The Reckoning Fleet was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. In 6 months, Earth had built ships at a rate that terrified Council intelligence analysts. Factories operated 24 hours a day. Asteroid miners stripped entire rocks for raw materials. Every human with technical skills worked to turn Earth's industry into a war machine. The fleet numbered 2,000 warships now, each one incorporating lessons learned from the Battle of Sol: faster engines, stronger shields, more devastating weapons, and every ship was crewed by humans who remembered what the Council had tried to do. Chen's first target was the Proxima Thalax system, a Council fortress that guarded the approach to their core worlds. Intelligence said the base was impregnable, protected by defense platforms and a garrison of 500 warships. It had never fallen in 3,000 years of Council history. The Reckoning Fleet arrived in Proxima Thalax without warning. Dr. Tanaka's new faster-than-light missiles had struck the system's sensor arrays 5 minutes before, blinding the defenders. By the time they knew humans were coming, it was too late. But Chen did not attack immediately. Instead, she broadcast a message on all frequencies, in every language spoken in Council space. The message included video footage from Andromeda Station, the Council's betrayal, the murder of unarmed human diplomats, the unprovoked attacks on human ships, evidence of the 3 other species the Council had destroyed. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet," her message began. "The Galactic Council claims to bring peace and civilization to the galaxy. They claim to be honorable. They claim to be just. These claims are lies." The broadcast showed Council troops firing on surrendering humans. It showed the secret files detailing their plans to steal Earth's technology. It showed the coordinates of the dead worlds where other species had been erased from history. "The Council is built on tyranny and fear," Chen continued. "They destroy anyone who questions them. They enslave anyone who cannot fight back. For thousands of years they have ruled because no one could stop them. That ends today. Humanity offers every species in this system a choice. Stand with us against tyranny or stand aside. But if you stand with the Council, you will fall with them. The defenders of Proxima Thalax had a choice to make. Many of them had not known about the Council's crimes. The broadcast showed them the truth their leaders had hidden. Entire ships defected, their crews refusing to fight for a lie. Others withdrew, declaring neutrality. Only the true believers remained, the ones who benefited from the Council's corruption. Chen gave them 1 hour to surrender. When they refused, she showed them what human warfare had become. The battle was not like Sol. Earth had learned and adapted. Stealth ships delivered electronic warfare packages that turned the fortress's own defenses against it. Faster than light missiles appeared inside shield perimeters, bypassing defenses entirely. Human hackers using the AI technology the Council had wanted so badly infiltrated command systems and sowed chaos. Proxima Thalax fell in 6 hours. The impregnable fortress surrendered, and the galaxy watched in shock as humanity's fleet moved on to the next target without pausing to celebrate. On the prison world of Gehenna 7, Admiral James Kowalski sat in his cell and listened to the guards panic. He had been captive since Andromeda Station, beaten and interrogated for information he refused to give. The Council wanted Earth's AI codes, wanted to know where the secret shipyards were located. Kowalski had told them nothing. Now he heard explosions in the distance. Human weapons. Human ships. He smiled through his broken teeth. The cell door exploded inward. A squad of Earth Marines rushed in, their armor scarred from battle. The sergeant saluted crisply. "Admiral Kowalski, sir. We are here to bring you home." Kowalski stood on shaking legs. "How many others?" "All of them, sir." Admiral Chen's orders. "We do not leave anyone behind." As Marines freed prisoners throughout the facility, Kowalski learned what had happened. The Battle of Sol, Earth's victory. The Reckoning Fleet's campaign across Council space. He learned that the young commander he had mentored was now leading humanity's war of liberation. When they brought him aboard the fleet's hospital ship, Chen was waiting. She tried to salute, but Kowalski pulled her into a hug instead. "You did it," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "You saved Earth." "We all did it," Chen replied. "And we are not done yet." Across Council space, the pattern repeated. Human fleets appeared without warning, transmitted evidence of Council crimes, and offered others the chance to stand with humanity. Many accepted. The 3 enslaved species that the Council had crushed decades ago joined eagerly, their people crying with joy at their liberation. The Velkan, whose homeworld had been occupied for 50 years, rose up against their Council overseers when human ships arrived. The Marathi, scientists who had been forced to work for the Council, sabotaged weapons factories and shared intelligence with Earth. The Threks, warriors who had been broken by defeat, took up arms again alongside their human liberators. The Council had created an empire through fear. Humanity was dismantling it through hope. Dr. Tanaka developed weapons that the Council had no defense against, faster than light missiles that could strike anywhere in the galaxy with no warning. Cyber warfare tools that turned sophisticated computer systems into liabilities. Psychological operations that eroded the Council's authority. But the most devastating weapon was simply the truth. Every battle was broadcast. Every Council atrocity was exposed. Every lie was revealed. Species that had believed in the Council's righteousness learned they had been deceived. The Empire cracked from within. Commander Torres, now Chen's second-in-command, coordinated operations from the Retribution's command center. "Admiral, we have a problem. The Council is pulling back their fleets to protect their core worlds. They are abandoning the outer territories." Chen studied the tactical display. The Council was retreating, consolidating their forces, smart from a military perspective. But it exposed their weakness. "They are choosing which worlds to defend," Chen said quietly, leaving the others to fend for themselves. "That tells me everything about what they really value." She made a decision. "We bypass their fleets. Use the faster-than-light missiles to keep them pinned down. But we take the fight to their homeworlds, all 7 of them simultaneously." Torres stared at her. "That will stretch our forces thin. If they counterattack, we might lose everything." "They will not counterattack," Chen said with certainty, "because the moment human ships appear in orbit of their homeworlds with weapons aimed at their capitals, the Council leadership will realize something. We could destroy them. We have the power. and they will understand finally what it felt like when they attacked Earth. Over the next month, the Reckoning Fleet split into 7 task forces, each one prepared for the most audacious operation in human history. They would strike at the heart of an empire that had ruled for millennia. They would appear in the skies of worlds that had never known defeat. Admiral Kowalski recovered enough to return to duty, took command of one task force. Lieutenant Kim, promoted to captain for her bravery at Mars, led another. Across the fleet, humans prepared for the operation that would end the war, or end humanity. Chen recorded a message to be broadcast the moment they arrived. She wanted the Council's leaders to hear it, to understand it. This is Admiral Sarah Chen. In 30 days, human fleets will arrive at each Council homeworld. We will be in position to destroy your capitals, your governments, your military command. We have this power. We have earned this power through your betrayal and our survival. But unlike you, we will not use it. We will give you one chance: surrender. Stand trial for your crimes. Release all prisoners and enslaved species. Dissolve the Council and allow true democracy to flourish. You have 30 days to decide if your empire is worth dying for. She ended the recording and looked at her bridge crew, young men and women who had been children 6 months ago. Now they were veterans of a war that would reshape the galaxy. Execute Operation Shatterpoint, Chen ordered. Let us go remind the Council why you do not betray humanity. 7 human fleets activated their faster-than-light drives and disappeared into the void. They carried humanity's wrath to the stars, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if the Council would surrender or if the ancient empire would burn. Either way, the age of the Council was ending, and the age of humanity had begun. The 30 days passed like a held breath. The Council's supreme counselors, the 7 leaders who had ruled the galaxy for longer than human civilization had existed, met in emergency session on Centralis Prime. Their capital world, beautiful and ancient, had never been touched by war. Now human warships waited at the edge of the system, weapons charged, demonstrating a simple truth: no one was untouchable anymore. Supreme Counselor Vexcal, eldest of the 7, looked at the tactical displays with something approaching horror. Human fleets surrounded all 7 homeworlds simultaneously. The Council's military, vastly superior in total numbers, was scattered across the galaxy. Any attempt to concentrate forces would take weeks. The humans had planned this perfectly. This is impossible, Counselor Theron hissed, her scales rippling with agitation. They are primitives, upstarts. They have been in space for barely a century. How can they threaten us? Because we taught them to, Vexcal said quietly. We showed them that the galaxy is cruel. That strength is all that matters. We tried to destroy them, and instead we forged them into something dangerous. We should have destroyed their world when we had the chance, Counselor Morgan rumbled. Complete annihilation. No survivors. And now we face the consequences of our arrogance, Vexcal replied. He pulled up Admiral Chen's ultimatum. They demand our surrender. They demand we stand trial for genocide. They offer mercy if we submit. Mercy? Theron laughed bitterly. They would put us in cages, display us like criminals. The Council does not surrender to anyone. Then the Council dies with its pride intact, Vexcal said simply. He had lived for 3,000 years. He had seen empires rise and fall. He knew when a war was lost. I vote for surrender. Let historians judge whether that makes me a coward or a pragmatist. The other counselors argued, raged, and threatened, but in the end they voted. 4 in favor of surrender, 3 against. The Galactic Council, rulers of 50,000 worlds, lowered their weapons for the first time in their history. Admiral Sarah Chen received the surrender notification while standing on the bridge of the Retribution. The ship floated above Centralis Prime, close enough that its weapons could reduce the capital to ash in minutes. She had the power to end billions of lives with a single order. Instead, she ordered her weapons powered down. All fleets, Operation Shatterpoint enters Phase 2, Chen transmitted. Begin systematic neutralization of military infrastructure. No civilian casualties. Precision only. Show them that humanity can be merciful even in victory. Across 7 star systems, human ships moved with surgical precision. They disabled orbital defense platforms without destroying them. They landed troops at military bases and shipyards, accepting surrenders and securing weapons. They used electronic warfare to shut down command and control systems without damaging the networks themselves. The Council had expected destruction. Instead, they got something worse: humiliation. Humanity could have burned their worlds but chose not to. The mercy was more devastating than any weapon. On Centralis Prime, Chen took a shuttle down to the capital city. The streets were filled with aliens of 100 species, all of them watching as human soldiers secured key facilities. There was no looting, no violence, just efficient, professional occupation. The council's great hall, where laws had been written for thousands of years, now hosted something new. A trial. Representatives from every species in the galaxy attended, broadcast across every world, transmitted on every frequency. Humanity would not hide this. Everyone would see justice done. Supreme Counselor Vexcal stood in chains before the assembly. His fellow counselors stood beside him, some defiant, some broken. Chen approached him, her uniform crisp despite months of warfare, her eyes hard. "You tried to destroy humanity because you feared us," Chen said, her voice carrying across the hall. "You were right to fear us, but not for the reasons you thought. You feared our technology, our creativity, our refusal to accept the old ways. What you should have feared was this. You hurt us. You killed our people, and we do not forget." Vexcal met her eyes. "If I could change the past, I would. I believed we were protecting the galaxy from a dangerous species. Instead, I created exactly what I feared. You created a species that will never trust the Council again." Chen agreed. "But you also created something else. You united humanity. You reminded us what we are capable of when we fight together. For that, I almost want to thank you." Almost. The trial lasted 3 days. Evidence was presented. Witnesses testified. The Council's crimes were laid bare for all to see, not just the attack on humanity, but centuries of oppression, manipulation, and genocide against other species. The 3 enslaved races told their stories. The galaxy listened in horror. The verdict was unanimous. Guilty on all charges. The punishment was not death. Chen had argued against that. "We are better than they are," she had told President Webb. "We do not execute prisoners, even these." Instead, the counselors were sentenced to life imprisonment on a remote world, guarded by a multi-species force. They would live with their failures. That seemed more just than a quick death. With the council leadership removed, the empire dissolved. Hundreds of species declared independence. Alliances formed and reformed. The galaxy entered chaos, but it was the chaos of freedom, not oppression. President Webb addressed the galaxy from Earth, proposing something new. The Terran Concordat, a democratic federation where no species held absolute power, where decisions were made by consensus, where the strong protected the weak instead of exploiting them. "Humanity does not seek to rule," Webb said clearly. "We seek only to ensure that what happened to us never happens to anyone else. Join us if you believe in freedom, in democracy, in the right of every species to determine their own fate, or go your own way. But know this. If you threaten others, if you build empires on suffering, if you commit genocide, humanity will come for you. That is our promise. That is our purpose." One by one, species joined the Concordat. The Velkan, freed from occupation. The Marathi, eager to share their science freely. The Threks, finding purpose as defenders instead of conquerors. Within a year, 3,000 worlds had joined. Within 5 years, 10,000. Admiral Chen retired after the war. She had given enough, sacrificed enough. She returned to Earth and stood in the memorial park that had been built in Geneva, walls covered with names. 30,000 dead from the Battle of Seoul. Tens of thousands more from the campaign that followed. The price of freedom carved in stone. Admiral Kowalski found her there, his hair now completely white but his eyes still sharp. "Thinking about what we lost?" "Thinking about what we saved," Chen replied. "Every name here is someone who gave everything so humanity could survive, so we could remain free. I want their sacrifice to mean something." "It does," Kowalski assured her. "The galaxy is different now. Better. Because humans refuse to submit. Because you refuse to let their deaths be meaningless." They stood in silence for a while, remembering friends and colleagues who would never come home. Then Chen's communicator chirped. She answered it. "Admiral Chen, this is Concordat Defense Command," the voice said. "We have a situation. A new species has made first contact. They are approaching Earth and they seem nervous." "Extremely nervous," Chen smiled slightly. "Nervous? Why?" "Well, ma'am, they mentioned they had heard stories about what happens when humanity is threatened, about the species that shattered the Council. They want to make very sure we know they come in peace." Chen exchanged a glance with Kowalski. The old admiral grinned. Seems our reputation precedes us. Tell them they have nothing to fear, Chen instructed. Humanity does not attack peaceful species. We welcome them to the Concordat, but make sure they understand our history. Make sure they know what we are capable of if betrayed. Understood, Admiral. I will relay the message. The transmission ended. Chen looked up at Earth's sky, blue and peaceful. Protected now by the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. Human ships patrolled the borders. Human technology pushed the boundaries of science. Human diplomats negotiated treaties based on equality and respect. The Council had tried to break humanity. They had wanted to steal human innovation and destroy human independence. Instead, they had created something they could never have imagined. A species that would not bow. A people who turned suffering into strength. Do you think we will ever stop being vigilant? Kowalski asked. Stop waiting for the next threat? Chen shook her head. No, we learned our lesson. The galaxy is dangerous. There will always be species who want to conquer, to dominate. But they will learn the same lesson the Council learned. Humanity does not break. We rise. She turned away from the memorial, ready to face whatever came next. Behind her, the names of the dead stood as a reminder. A warning. A promise to the galaxy. You can threaten humanity. You can attack us. You can try to destroy us. But we will survive. We will fight back. And we will show you that the scariest thing in the galaxy is not the strongest species or the oldest empire. It is a species that has nothing left to lose and everything to protect. It is a people who remember every betrayal and never forgive. It is humans who have been pushed too far and decided to push back. The Council had learned this lesson in blood and fire. Their empire was dust. Their pride was shattered. And across the galaxy, new species approaching human space always ask the same question first. Do they know we come in peace? Because everyone had heard the stories. Everyone knew what happened at Sol. Everyone understood that humanity was not prey. Humanity was the predator that hunted predators, the species that punished tyrants, the people who ended empires. 5 years after the war ended, a young human girl visited the memorial with her class. She looked at the names and asked her teacher a question. Why did the Council attack us? The teacher, a veteran of the Battle of Mars, knelt beside her. Because they thought we were weak. They thought we would be easy to destroy. They were wrong. What did we do to them? The girl asked. The teacher smiled, sad and proud at the same time. We showed them what humanity really means. We showed them that we do not break. We rise, the girl nodded solemnly. She touched the memorial wall, feeling the names beneath her fingers. Then she stood straight, like the soldiers she saw in the videos, and saluted the fallen. Across the galaxy, humanity stood watch. They built and explored and created, but they never forgot. They never lowered their guard. Because the galaxy had tried to end them once, they would not get a second chance.